Okotoks, Alberta. Now, if you don't know where Okotoks is, it is south of Calgary, and it is a fantastic little town, little city. And if you've never thought of moving here, maybe you should. Today, we're gonna be talking about the pros and the cons of why you should consider living here. And let me tell you, we're gonna give you a tour of the city, show you around, and give you lots of ideas. And maybe we can perhaps convince you to make a move here. So we are down on one of my favorite streets here in Okotoks. It's Elma Street. So you have a real different feel. You have some commercial spaces in historical homes. And so you've got some bakeries. I think there's an engineering firm or surveying firm right here. And there's a lot of cool little places, but this isn't what Okotoks is everywhere. You don't have historical homes. You don't have just like these country little farm places. It is not just that. There are some incredible properties for you to choose. Brand new builds, luxury homes, estate. There's a lot of opportunity for you if you are considering making the move here. There are so many pros when considering moving to Okotoks. So we're gonna walk through a whole bunch of them right now. And the first one is Okotoks is a really young community. The median age in Okotoks as of February 2022 is actually 39. So this city, this town, it has a young population. And if you were to take a 10-year gap, so ages 10 to 20, 30 to 40, whatever it is, the highest number of any of those little gaps there is actually between the ages of 10 and 19, 10 and 20. And that's like the biggest population here. So that kind of leads into the second pro, and it is so family focused. And there's so many things to do with a family, like the BMX tracks, baseball, winter activities, winter biking, and truly, you're not that far from places like Fernie, heading down to the border to the US. There's a lot of things that you can do from here when you're living in Okotoks. Now, the third one is the high median income. So, as of August 2022, the median household income in Okotoks was actually $116,000. That's not bad. This is much higher than the rest of Canada, which is about $75,000. So this is great. There's a lot of entrepreneurial businesses here, a lot of small businesses, a lot of people finding their way with their young family. And if that's you, then Okotoks could be a fantastic option, especially because there's so many school options. And that's our next pro. In terms of schools, Okotoks actually has 13 different preschools, 5 elementary schools, and a pair of high schools, with a couple private schools as well. And the average test scores here are actually about 7% above the national average, even higher than the Alberta average. So you got some smart kids that are taking over the city, and you could enjoy living here if you moved here as well. As well as all of those great things are for families, there is also a ton of shopping options. You really, truly never need to leave Okotoks. You've got Costco, the big Save-On type grocery stores, Home Depot, Safeway, and did I already said Costco? But Costco is here and it's not busy. That's the amazing part. So even if you live in South Calgary, right, Justin? Yeah, come down to Okotoks and be here instead of wherever else the Costcos are, because it's a lot quieter. The other part is proximity to Calgary, and that's what I literally just said. If you are living in Okotoks, getting into Calgary isn't that crazy because you're truly only about 15 minutes to the south end of the city, and if you need to go further in, well, if you lived in, I don't know, Auburn Bay, it's the same distance from there. So add maybe 10, maybe 12, maybe 15 minutes from the south end of the city, and now you're sitting in Okotoks. The other pro is it has a real vibrant downtown. Because there's such a community feel here in Okotoks, it just feels different. So back on that Elma Street where we started the video, that is part of downtown's feel. And so you have a lot of entrepreneurial businesses down there making their way, feeding the community, having a great time, and a great time living in Okotoks. And so the last two pros of living in Okotoks, the first one is it's safe. So Okotoks is actually 59% safer than any other Canadian city around. right? So if that's important to you, then definitely this is a place you gotta check out. And the last one is affordability. So the cost of living in Calgary is about 17% more expensive than it is in Okotoks. So if all of these pros are things that are just making you happy, well then maybe Okotoks is somewhere you gotta be. But for every pro, there's gotta be a couple cons. So let's head over to that. So if you are thinking of making a move, whether it's in Okotoks or it's in Calgary, there are two ways to reach out to us how we can help you. The first one is going to the description, and there's a link to our Thinking of Selling form where you can give us all the information on your house, choose my name, I'll see it, and we'll get you connected. And the second way is through our email, info@chamberlaingroup.ca, and we'll be able to help you there. For every pro, there's gotta be a con, right? Well, in this case, why not tell you about the bad parts of living in Okotoks in a setting like this, where there's wildlife and flies chasing you around. So the first thing with living in Okotoks is you could have a little bit more harsh winters, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, my notes say it could get as cold as minus 24 degrees, but being born and raised here in Calgary, that's pretty typical. So you can expect a typical Alberta winter when you live here in Okotoks. The next one is high property taxes. So we took an average price of about $500,000, and of the $500,000, we looked at what are the property taxes for Okotoks and what are the property taxes for Calgary. So for that same $500,000 home, you'd be paying about $3,700 in Calgary, where you'd be paying about $4,100 in Okotoks. So something to be aware of and conscious of if you're making the move from Calgary down to Okotoks. If you are planning on working in Calgary and living in Okotoks, the third con of living here is going to be that commute time. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. If you want to be down here and this is where you want to live and you work there, then it just is what it is. It might be very negligible at the beginning, but over time it could kind of wear away at you when you have that transportation time added to every day's commute. The final thing with driving around Okotoks and to Calgary is actually the drive in Okotoks itself. Now, you might only be 15 minutes from the south end of Calgary, but I did calculations and it can take you up to 15 minutes to drive about 9 to 10 kilometers from one end of the city to the other locally, just because of traffic lights and stop and go traffic and all the things that happen. It's not a super flow through easy city to get around. So just be aware of that as well. And if this is a video that you have found helpful, you're totally gonna love this one. Head over here and learn more about Airdrie.